This is over Book 1, Lesson number 13. If you have not completed the assignment for Lesson number 12, do not move on to this video. So, Lesson number 13 is over dotted notes. So you may have seen some notes. We know our half note, and we know our whole note, what they look like. Half note, whole note is just a circle filled in. Half note is circle filled in with a stem on it. So, dotted note means you add a dot after that note. Now, what does that dot mean? That dot means you add 1/2 of the value of the original note, 1/2 of this note without the dot, 1/2 of that note to that note. So, we know a half note is worth how many quarter notes? It's worth 2 quarter notes. And so the dot adds half of that on there. Half of 2 quarter notes is 1 quarter note. So we know that this, instead of being worth 2 quarter notes, is now worth 3 quarter notes because we added 1 onto the 2 that are already there. So it adds half of the value. Now, how many quarter notes is a whole note worth? A whole note is worth 4 quarter notes. So we split the whole note up into 4 quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Half of that, half of 4, is how many? 2. So you have 2 quarter notes. We want to add that back to the original. That's what the dot does. It doesn't just add 1 quarter note. It doesn't just add 2 quarter notes. It doesn't just add 3. It adds half of the original value of the note. So 2 quarter notes plus this whole note is originally worth 4 quarter notes. But when you add the dot on it, you add the 2 onto that 4, and it turns into worth 6 quarter notes. So that dot makes that whole note worth 6 quarter notes. This dot makes that half note worth 3 quarter notes. So we call this a dotted whole note. We call this a dotted half note. Now let's go down here to our staff. Let's look at the bass clef first. Our bass clef is in 3/4 time. So let me say I'm writing something. I want the trumpets to hold out 1 note for a whole measure in 3/4. How many beats are in 3/4 time? There are 3 beats, and a quarter note gets the beat. Which of these notes can we get at? Will a half note fix it? No, that only has 2 beats. A half note will only hold out for 2 beats of the 3/4 bar. A quarter note will only hold out 1, so we need a different note. We need the half note with the dot added onto it to say that this is worth 3 beats. So I'm going to write a note right there, and then I'm going to add the dot right next to it. And the dot always goes after the note no matter where the stem is. The dot always goes after the note. So we know that this is worth 3 beats. And you would write the beats underneath it like 1-2-3. The same can actually also be applied to rests as well. You don't see it as often. If I have a half rest, I can add a dot to it. That half rest is now worth 3 beats. 1, 2, 3. Now let's go over to our treble clef right here on the staff. Treble clef. This is in 6/4 time. 6/4 time. So quarter note gets the beat. It's in 4. So how many notes? How many quarter notes can there be in each measure? 6, because the top number tells us there's 6. And I want the saxophones to hold out a note for the whole measure. How do I write that? Well, if I just draw a whole note right there, I know that's worth 1, 2, 3, 4 of the beats, but I have 6 beats in each measure. I need 2 more. So I add the dot to it, because remember up here, the dot added those 2 extra quarter notes to the note, and now I have this is worth 6 beats. So I'd write out 1-2-3-4-5-6. So You write that out. The same thing applies if you have a whole rest. If you have a whole rest, you can also add the dot to it. It'll also be worth 6 beats. So complete lesson 13, and then go to the student assignment on lesson 14, and after you finish 13, then mark them both completed on Google Classroom once you finish the assignments. Once I have graded them in the workbook, I will put in your grade onto Google Classroom for them, and or mark them completed. And if you have to redo anything, I will let you know. And then after that, move on to lesson number 15.